Before we carry out the experiment of eggplant peel pH indicator, let's discuss and recall what acids, bases, and indicators are. Also, how indicators functions to tell the acidity or basicity of a substance, and what are the uses and importance of acids. These are solutions with a pH lower than 7 and identified by its sour taste. Acids are sometimes called proton donors because they release hydrogen ions or the positively charged particles, as it certainly reacts with anything taking them. For example is a vinegar, which we all know has a high level of pH, is combined with baking soda, which is then a basic. It quickly reacts with each other, causing, rather creating bubbles or gas called carbon dioxide or CO2. Different acids change its color of a certain indicator, modifying how acidic the sample is. Acids are also used to make electrolytes, purify petroleum products, even in explosives, and many more. Here are some examples of acids: vinegar containing acetic acid, lemon juice and citrus fruit containing citric acid and some ascorbic acid, alcoholic beverages, sour candies, yogurt, detergents, paints, dyes, muriatic acid containing hydrochloric acid, hydrogen peroxide, aspirin containing acetylsalicylic acid, plastics or polymers or synthetic fibers, car batteries, and fertilizers. Now, let's see about bases. Base is a solution with a pH higher than 7 with the property of the chemicals of bitter taste or flavor and slippery texture. Acids are proton donors, while bases, on the other hand, are proton acceptors. They contain oxygen bound to hydrogen atoms called the hydroxyl group, having a few negative charged particles. In pure water, the concentration of hydronium ions is very low. Only about 1 in 10 million water molecules naturally breaks down to form a hydronium ion. That's how it is explained that water is neutral, having a pH level of 7 and is neither acidic or basic. Acids and bases functions to balance the pH levels in our body, but it can also be used to detect or determine how acidic or basic the product you are using at home. Not only these acids and bases are important to chemicals, but also to our everyday life as we apply in most of what we do. A variety of organisms, including humans, rely on acidity and basicity for their survival, which makes them significant in our everyday life. These chemical properties are vital to us humans as well as outside the laboratory and science. Arrhenius acids and bases. It is classifying certain compounds as acids or bases based on what kind of ions formed when the compound was added to water. Arrhenius acid are species and/or compounds increasing the concentration of hydronium ions in aqueous solution, while Arrhenius bases increase the concentration of hydroxide ion in aqueous solution. Indicators. Chemical indicator is any substance wherein the solution changes its color due to changes in pH or alteration in its solution. Examples of these indicators are litmus paper, methyl yellow, pH indicators using red cabbage, eggplant, beets, grapes, and onions. All these are among the natural pH indicator, which can also test the basicity or acidity of various items, which will show different colors depending if it is acidic or basic. pH. pH scale shows how acidic or basic your solution is. Scientists use a pH scale to determine whether a substance is acidic or basic. While pH range is ranging from 0 to 14, with 7 being neutral. Pure water has a pH of 7, which is neutral. pH of less than 7 indicate acidity, whereas pH of greater than 7 indicates a base. pH is really a measure of the relative amount of free hydrogen and hydroxyl ions in the water. And from this on, we will see how different substances react with the eggplant peel pH indicator.
Hello everyone! Today, we're going to do an experiment that demonstrates a natural pH indicator using the peel of an eggplant. But first, we must peel 3 eggplants and allow them to dry away from direct sunlight for about 1 to 2 days.
After finishing the first task, store it in a safe place and just let it dry.
When we see that the peels are dried enough, we can now start the experiment properly. The first step is to boil a cup of water or approximately 250 ml. Then, we can now soak the dried eggplant peel by first removing the boiled water to the heat. Get a container and soak it for 3 to 5 minutes. And just wait for them to turn into a yellowish green color. After getting the desired result, we need to cool it down before using the actual solution. So we will remove the peel from being soaked to it. Next is to prepare the materials needed. For the samples, we are going to test 5 drops of liquid bleach, a dash of soap powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, and lastly, 1 teaspoon of water. The color change will determine whether they are acidic, basic, or a natural solution. Now, add 5 ml of water to each and mix it well. Next is to put 10 ml of our natural pH indicator in each of the sample. After that, we will now observe its color change and proceed to the result and discussion.
In discussing the results of the experiment, we are going to use a pH scale to classify solutions in terms of their acidity or basicity. Here, the sample displays a very light brown color, it indicates that the solution is acidic. If it exhibits a light brown in color, it indicates that it is a neutral solution. And lastly, if the sample exhibits brown, beige to almond brown color, it is probably part of the basic solutions. Though, in different natural pH indicators, color indicators for acidic, neutral, and basic solutions are different. So it really depends on the natural indicator used. Now that we know the color indicators for acidic, neutral, and basic solutions, let's discuss the results of the experiment.
In the experiment, baking soda, also called sodium bicarbonate, has a pH value of 9 as it exhibits a color of almond brown. We can say that the sample is a basic solution. The same goes with soap powder. It displays a much lighter color compared with baking soda, and according to the scale, it has a pH value of 8 and is also a basic solution. While in our water sample, the color did not really change. But due to the color of our eggplant pH indicator, it reveals the color of light brown. This means that our water sample is neutral and has a pH value of 7. The liquid bleach, showing a beige color, expresses the pH 12 in the chart, which means it is a basic solution. Lastly, the vinegar manifests a very light brown color, which indicates that it has a pH value of 2 and is the only acidic solution in the experiment. If we would arrange our samples to acidic to the least acidic, the vinegar would go first, being the only acidic solution in this experiment. Next is water as our neutral solution, then soap powder, baking soda, and lastly is the liquid bleach. As mentioned a while ago, the color indicators for acidic, neutral, and basic solutions vary depending on the natural pH indicator used. We can use different natural indicators such as red cabbage juice, blueberries, onions, and more. Red cabbages are usually used as pH indicators in this kind of experiment. This is because it contains a water-soluble pigment molecule called anthocyanin.
Acids are those with pH level less than 7. They are also sometimes called proton donors. Bases are those with pH level greater than 7. They are also called as proton acceptors. Neutral solutions are those with pH level 7. Acidic solution has a high concentration of hydrogen ions, while a basic solution has low hydrogen ions. Anthocyanin change color depending on the pH of their environment. Eggplant peels contain anthocyanin, which can be used as pH indicator. From the experiment, the order of acidic to least acidic will be vinegar, water, soap powder, baking soda, and liquid bleach. In conclusion, we have seen how different substances react with the eggplant peel indicator, which can also be prepared at home. Highlights or important points of this experiment were thoroughly discussed. You can also try doing this experiment at home and use other items or samples aside from ours to know how acidic, neutral, or basic your sample is. But be extra careful when you use harmful chemicals. That's all.